Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another edition of Bad Deck Monday. This time we're taking a look at a different strategy we can use here in the Pokemon TCG. And today's deck of choice is going to focus around the Pokemon Gourgeist. It has 100 HP, Stage 1 Pokemon, not great statistics. First attack, Eerie Voice, 1 Psychic Energy puts 2 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. It's actually a fairly strong attack. If your opponent has 6 Pokemon in play, you're effectively doing 120 damage for 1 energy. Pretty solid. And you spread it out, and it's damage counters, so cards like Mr. Mime won't block it with Bench Barrier since it's not doing direct damage. But the attack we want to focus on is Spirit Scream. Put damage counters on both active Pokemon until the remaining HP of each Pokemon is 10. So basically, both Pokemon go down to 10 HP, and then we'll try to take advantage of that. Now, obviously, this is a big drawback. You're pretty much knocking yourself out. You're leaving yourself with 10 HP, but, I mean, pretty much a Pidgey could knock out Gourgeist at that point. So we need to run something to take advantage of it. And the first thing we're going to do is run Hypnotoxic Laser. If you can poison your opponent and then put it down to 10 HP, well, that's an instant knockout. And this is a really cool combo against those EX Pokemon, which give up 2 prizes. You're basically trading 2 prizes for 1, and it's a nice trade-off. Now, unfortunately, Virizion EX does exist, which can block status effects. So does Slurpuff, the new Fairy-type Pokemon. So we gotta run some other ways to damage our opponent. So we're gonna run some Rocky Helmet as well. That way, after we put our opponent down to 10 HP, if they want to attack, they're gonna have to knock themselves out running into that Rocky Helmet. So we got 2 ways to take advantage of the Spirit Scream, but we also have a problem that it costs 2 Psychic Energy, and it can be very difficult to keep powering up Gourgeist because, well, it's gonna get knocked out pretty quickly when it only has 10 HP left. So we do have a 4-3 Gourgeist line. I actually wasn't able to get a 4th one, so 3 actually probably works fine. But the way we're gonna take into account this 2 Psychic Energy cost is to run Gardevoir alongside of it. It has the ability Psychic Mirage. Each basic Psychic Energy attached to your Psychic Pokemon provides 2 Psychic Energy. So now instead of having to attach twice to use Spirit Scream, we only have to attach once, and it provides the 2 Psychic we need. Beautiful. These cards work very well together. That's going to be our main strategy. Gardevoir allows us to power up Gourgeist in 1 turn, and we can keep a constant stream of Spirit Scream. Say that 5 times fast. Alright, so beyond that, we do have a few tech Pokemon to look at. First one here is Sigilif. It's always nice to have a safeguard Pokemon if you can afford to run one. This one runs Psychic Energy, so heck, might as well run one, right? This can help slow some of those big fast EXs down if we need to. So we got one of these. We also have a 101 Dusknoir line. Now, since we're doing so much damage counter placement, the first attack with Gourgeist can do that, and maybe you don't even want to knock out the defending Pokemon with Spirit Scream, Sinister Hand is nice to rearrange damage on your opponent's Pokemon, and kind of target down the Pokemon that's the biggest threat. So if you just have damage on their field, but you don't really want to knock out their active Pokemon, you can move the damage somewhere else. So Dusknoir is a very nice role player in this deck that can really give your deck a lot more versatility and a lot more options to work with. Then we have one Mewtwo EX. Since it's also a Psychic-type Pokemon, it can take advantage of Gardevoir's Psychic Mirage. Never hurts to have a big bad Mewtwo on your side. And then one Mr. Mime. Since Gourgeist is going to put itself down to 10 HP, we're very vulnerable to attacks like Genesect EX's Megalo Cannon that can hit the bench, maybe get a double knockout since Gourgeist will only have 10 HP left, or Darkrai's Night Spear, or Kyurem's Frost Spear. So we need a Mr. Mime just to make sure those big 2 prize turns don't happen. So those are the Pokemon for the deck. We've also seen the Hypnotoxic Laser and the Rocky Helmet. Otherwise, there shouldn't be too much unusual in this deck. We only have 3 rare candies since our Stage 2 lines are so small. It's a 2-1-2 Gardevoir and a 1-0-1 Dusknoir, so we probably won't need more than 3 rare candy. Otherwise, we have our 4 Skyla, 4 Juniper, 4 N, and 2 Colress. And I always like to have a counter stadium, which is Tropical Beach, but you can change this to anything. It does not have to be Tropical Beach, so don't worry. You don't need it to play the deck. It's just my go-to stadium when I just need a default stadium. Seems to work out pretty well. Otherwise, we just have a couple switching cards, a Tool Scrapper in case of Gardevoir, since we can actually put a lot of damage on our opponent's Pokemon, and then use one big Tool Scrapper, and then use Dusknoir to move all the damage to the Gardevoir and actually knock it out. So it's a nice little thing you can do. We do have 4 Ultra Ball, just to search for our Pokemon, and a Level Ball, also to search for the little guys. And Professor's Letter is nice since we can Skyla and just get 2 energy. I think a lot more decks will start playing this card. It's very, very strong. And then our Ace-Spec card is Dowsing Machine, just so we can recover some important things like the lasers and maybe Rocky Helmet. Who knows? And then, super odd since we're probably going to be knocking our Gourgeist out a lot. But that is the basic idea of the deck. Of course, let's take a look at a game that I played with it. And let's get this going. So, looks like we're taking a while to get started here. Alright, there we go. So, looks like I am going to go first here. And going up against Lemon HD 27. Player I don't think I've encountered before. So we'll see what kind of shenanigans will happen in this game. I do open with 2 Pumpkaboo and a Ralts in my hand. So obviously we want to start with the Pumpkaboo, and then we'll bench the other 2 Pokemon as well. Now I have an Ultra Ball, but that weird spot where you don't really want to discard any of your cards because you would have to discard a Dusknoir and a Gardevoir probably. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the laser, play the N, and our hand actually got much worse. But we can attach an energy at least, so I'll go ahead and put down Mewtwo and put the energy on Mewtwo, just because my hand is so bad that I want to make sure I at least have an attacker getting powered up, and then we'll pass the turn. So we see a Terrakion, which can mean all sorts of things, I'm not really sure. And we see a Snorlax and a Suicune. And this is interesting, I've not seen a deck like this before. We've seen Suicune and Terrakion working together. That has been a deck that's popped up every now and then. It got countered pretty hard by decks when they started running Tool Scrapper, but it's another story, I guess. We'll see how this goes, and we see my opponent plays a Skyla for a Hypnotoxic Laser after putting the Verbank City Gym into play. So this is not looking too great for our side right now. The only bright thing is we did poison the Terrakion, so maybe it'll get knocked out eventually. But poor Pumpkaboo, he is going to go down right here. And top decked another Pumpkaboo, which we'll just put down and promote as it gets knocked out by poison. And we're going to be in some trouble pretty quickly if I don't top deck something soon. That Terrakion, let's see, it has 60 HP left, so, maybe 2 turns it'll get knocked out. But nope, there is a switch into Snorlax. And a Max Potion and a Juniper. Uh-oh. So it looks like my opponent has a pretty good hand, whereas I do not. And we've seen energy go on to the Suicune, so Mewtwo's not going to do much against that Safeguard Pokemon. Definitely not. So now I'm going to have to go ahead and, I got an Ultra Ball at least, so we can start doing something, I guess. I guess we'll Ultra Ball for the Gourgeist, just take a look through. It's times like these I wish I had played Jirachi EX in this deck. Not a bad option, but we do not, so I can't get a supporter there. And I'm just going to use Eerie Voice with Gourgeist. We're going to hold on to that laser, since Snorlax isn't particularly threatening, and it's got a 4 retreat cost. So we'll hold on to the laser for when an actual attacker comes out. That way we can maybe neutralize a threat that we wouldn't have been able to before. So Eerie Voice actually doesn't do direct damage, so we won't be affected by that Rocky Helmet. That's only when you do direct damage, not place damage counters. So these Rocky helmets are going to be mostly useless. But here comes Suicune with a double colorless, and oh, thank goodness. My opponent actually plays an N and gives me a fresh hand of 6. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Thank you, my opponent. That was pretty awesome. Now we got stuff to play with. We got a full bench and a Colress. I'm going to laser and then Colress for 10 cards. And then we'll go ahead and rare candy into Gardevoir. And we can actually Spirit Scream if I want to. I have a couple options here. I might just go for, a more spread approach, since we do have Dusknoir. I'll just go ahead and, Eerie Voice, and then the way it'll work out is the laser will actually knock out Suicune coming back into my turn. So I might as well just spread the damage around. I'll be able to probably get a Gourgeist out next turn anyway. So I think the better move there was to use Eerie Voice and just do 2 damage counters to everything. That's it's putting a lot more damage on my opponent's board than if I were to just take the knockout with Spirit Scream. It just seems like the better move here. Especially because eventually, if I get Dusknoir out, we can start targeting specific Pokemon. And this is what Dusknoir really can give you sometimes. They really, it can almost lock the game down sometimes. It's kind of strange. If you have enough damage on your opponent's Pokemon, wherever they attach the energy, you just move the damage and knock it out. And it's very, very strong. We see this sometimes. I've seen it done against Blastoise decks where the player purposely keeps damage in play, so whenever a Squirtle gets benched, then it gets knocked out immediately, and your opponent can never get their Blastoise into play again. And so this is where the Dusknoir is really going to come in handy. Now, I do get a Gourgeist, which is pretty fortunate there, because that'll allow me to Skyla for Ultra Ball, and we do have enough cards here to go ahead and Ultra Ball, discard a Juniper, and Professor's Letter, and grab that Dusknoir. And now we're in a pretty dominant position. My opponent actually max potion and healed all of the damage off of the Suicune, but that meant he had to discard all the energy as well. So there's no real threat on the board, right? Nothing can really jump out and attack me. They all take multiple energy to do so. So we're just going to sit here and not knock anything out. We're just going to move damage around, make sure that the Suicune doesn't get knocked out by poison, and then Eerie Voice, spreading more and more damage. Now, this is not my intention when I created the deck, to do like a spread deck kind of thing. It was more focused on Spirit Scream. But hey, this is an option as well, I guess. If this rare opportunity presents itself, let's just go ahead and take it. Keep spreading damage. Let's see if we can't get like a massive 6 prize turn or something like that. That would be pretty awesome, I think. Now, I don't know what my opponent's going to do here. There are all sorts of cards that can mess with it. Of course, there could be like more max potions. Could be Cassius could really mess me up, since it would shuffle in a Pokemon as well. So then a new one could come down that's a more threatening and instant attacker. I don't know. So we're definitely not in a position where we've won the game, but it's looking very good. And there we do see another max potion and another max potion. That is number 4. Okay, so 4 max potions have been played. Beautiful. Alright, so we're going to try to avoid taking knockouts, so the long, laborious process of using Dusknoir's Sinister Hand will begin as we move all the damage away from the Suicune to make sure we don't knock it out and keep moving it somewhere else. We're trying to avoid taking knockouts until we can get all 6 at once. That is the plan here. Might be a little greedy, but it's fun. Alright, so move all the damage off of Suicune, and then we can Chorus for 10. Just want to make sure I don't deck out when I do that. So go ahead and draw a fresh hand of 10 cards. Pretty sweet. We can also Super Rod in the Gourgeist line along with a Psychic Energy, and then go for one more Eerie Voice. And look at how quickly that damage is adding up. We got 60 on the Mime, 60 on the Terrakion, 70 on the Snorlax. Let's see, 80 on the Suicune. What is that? 90 on the other Terrakion. Or 80, I can't tell. 50 on the active Suicune. All sorts of damage everywhere. And we can move it wherever we want. Because Dusknoir is that cool. And if you're my opponent, this is probably very frustrating as he switches into Snorlax and passes the turn. And I'm just going to keep doing what we're doing. We'll move the damage off of Mr. Mime so we don't knock it out. We're also going to have to move it away from Suicune so we don't knock that out, since it has 20 HP left. Yep, so now it has 70 on it. And we'll just go ahead and move another 10 somewhere else. Why not? Doesn't matter. And I think in a couple turns here, we should be able to take the mighty 6 prize turn, which you do not see these days anymore. And we see a Hypnotoxic Laser on the Gourgeist, and a pass. So let's see here. There's 80 on that, 80 on that, 100 on that, 100 on that. There's 60 on Mr. Mime, so here we go. Let's Skyla for that laser. And then we can move 10 to a Terrakion, 10 to another Terrakion, a Hypnotoxic Laser, and look at this. Eerie Voice. That's going to clear the board after the poison damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prizes in a single turn. Oh my goodness. How awesome was that? So these opportunities are far and few between, and we actually didn't do any direct damage that game, which is kind of funny. 0 damage, but we took a 6 prize turn. That is just an awesome opportunity that I could not pass up. So I'm not sure about the viability of Gourgeist. Maybe I'll have to keep trying it. That was just a cool game where I got to take 6 prizes at once. Man, I have not done that in a long time. But that was definitely pretty cool. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this game. I will certainly have some more videos for you guys soon. This is Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.